Good afternoon, everyone. It's Mel here from Success on Purpose for my 4 o'clock live. Hope you've been enjoying this divine winter we're having in Melbourne. How gorgeous has it been? So nice to see the sun out. And today what I want to talk about is defining or redefining what success means to you. Hello guys, how you going? And the reason I'm sharing this topic today is I had a beautiful catch up with a friend today for lunch, and she shared a story with me, and it made me realise it's why I do what I do, because I feel like in society we have our measure of success way outside of ourselves, and we don't really set ourselves up for success. We rather set ourselves up for failure. And the way we define success is we're always living for when, rather than actually living in the now and enjoying life. And I suppose I was a typical example of this, very much living in the when and coming from a space of high achiever, coming from academia, doing more courses, getting more knowledge, and really charging through life, forcing through life, and very much in a stress response. And all of the way of that was coming, the driving force for me was I'm not good enough. And if I do more, then I will feel good enough. And thankfully, I've shared this story lots from my broken wrist, because that was that message from the universe. It's like, stop doing what you're doing, because you're driving yourself to death, really, to destruction, because my body was so incredibly stressed. And so through a lot of work on myself, mentoring, and this is 8-9 years on, my level of success, I've really redefined it, where my level of success now for me is just having fun every day. And it's amazing how I learned to have fun every day, and I learned to have fun in probably one of the most challenging areas of life was through death. Through death, I actually found more life. And in my palliative care experience, working with people every day, listening to their stories, looking at them, going through so much suffering, and also through their experience of working so hard for the when, getting all their ducks lined up in a row, just pushing through life, accumulating more wealth, more money, and then getting there, and then their body's such in a stress response that they can't even enjoy and go on. And you see so much that people plan for retirement, and then the knees are given away, the hips are given away, and so we're planning for these big amazing things in the future, and then we're not able to actually enjoy them. So I put it out there to redefine that level of success. And the story that my friend shared with me today was she received a call from her property manager, and he had shared how he's had to sell his business. And he said, I just wanted to run this by you. This is what's happening now. And he said he's actually the owner of the firm. She's like, oh, thank you so much for calling. You could have, an email would have been fine. I'm really, grateful that you're the owner of the firm. You're obviously very busy, and you've taken this time to ring me. And then as he started sharing, he said, well, the reason I'm actually ringing everyone is because it's actually some healing for me, and I've actually got 5 weeks to live. And she was like, wow. And he said, yeah, I've got cancer. I had some treatment. It's actually spread now. And so I'm having to sell my whole business. And as she shared that story, I had tears in my eyes, and I was like, oh my God, this is why I do what I do. This is why I'm teaching all about receiving, learning to live in the now, learning to access that parasympathetic nervous system, so that, and learning to love ourselves and care for ourselves, so that then we can enjoy the fruits of our labor. And so it was a very powerful story about how, he had everything that he worked so hard for was there, but now he can't actually enjoy it because the stress response from his body is taken over, and the body's like said, it's enough. So I put it out to you. I'm just looking at everyone on there like, oh, hi guys. Just putting it out there to redefine what success means to you. I was very good at being successful, incredibly driven, incredibly fear-based, incredibly good at being hard on myself, and yeah, incredibly good at being, I suppose, pushing through life. And so through my own challenges and events and things happening is that I decided, wow, I want to use that achiever mode in me to achieve in self-love rather than being so hard on myself. And so then that's my journey now, trying to improve that and work on that more and more and more, because as I say, you fill yourself up and then you give out your overflow. So from that place, you come from more of a space of service to others, but you have to serve yourself first. And I also spoke, I didn't actually speak. I spoke for like 2 minutes last night. I went to a beautiful, a friend had her first meetup group, and I went there, and it was just a fantastic night, and I gave away some of my books and my half-day workshops, and I got up for 2 minutes, I reckon it was, and just spoke about what my book was about, a bit about the half-day workshop, sat back down. And then after it, people were coming up to me, they're like, oh, Mel, I had tears in my eyes, and thank you, that's what I did and doing, and I need this. And I was just like, wow, oh my God, there was just so many people, and I thought, wow, this is really where we're at as a society, which is exciting, is that we're ready to change our ways, we're ready to change our behaviours, our habits, our destructive behaviours, and being so hard on ourselves, because we know that if we don't, then we're just going to suffer more and have more pain. So it's about being proactive in life rather than reactive. And instead of learning through disease and sicknesses, let's be proactive and just start to implement those changes now. And one of the ones that I wanted to share about is starting to look inward and seeing yourself. And I did an interview, Facebook Live, Wednesday night, and a couple of people actually shared with me how they said, wow, all I shared about was having gratitude for yourself. And so many people, I've heard it a few other times, are like, wow, I never looked at it that way. Like, I'm really good at being grateful to things, people, you know. It's so easy to just be grateful that we've got fresh air, you know, water. You know, we do live in a very abundant place, but we actually forget to look at ourselves and be grateful for ourselves and see what we're doing every day. And this is a really simple yet profoundly effective technique to actually help get your body into that parasympathetic nervous system, so that relaxation response, and start to teach the brain to look at what we're doing well rather than what we're not doing well. And it's an amazing tool to start to give you more energy, because at the end of the day, what our brain is mostly doing is looking at where we're not, what I haven't achieved today, what I didn't do. Oh my God, I'm useless. Oh, I haven't done that again. Oh, no. And so our brain's firing off this, which is fear, which is a stress response, which then emits all of those emotions, which really drains, hi guys, which really drains our battery. And so we have to teach our brain to actually look at what we have done well for the day, what we have achieved. And then from that place, we come into the feeling of being, say, kind, compassionate, caring to ourselves. And then our brain starts to stimulate those emotions and make them from the brain and emit them down into the body, which are high vibrating emotions. And these emotions then don't take so much to give, to make, and they're replenishing to the body. So what happens is your subconscious mind is so active overnight, you know, while you may be asleep, your subconscious mind is incredibly active. And it depends on what state you put your mind to sleep in. Whether you put it in fear, then your battery is just burning all night, producing more fear emotions, and then you wake up feeling exhausted. So when you can actually change your mind to stimulate these high vibrating love-based emotions, then you can wake up in the morning with more energy rather than feeling depleted. And it's actually about, noticing what we do well. And so then we teach our body, our brain to look at that and focus on that. And then more things become prevalent for us. And then that's where we can build that new muscle of seeing ourselves rather than looking at where we're not. So it's a really it's a really simple tool to really give you more energy. And what I realise it does also is it stops you from being in judgment. Because mostly we're always in judgment of ourselves, which is also a fear response, which puts us in stress, and then keeps us from doing, say, things like this, doing a Facebook Live. So my biggest fear in life, I couldn't have cared about dying. I wasn't scared about that. I worked in that space. I had developed a lot of philosophies around it. My biggest fear was public speaking. And I heard myself one day when I said at work with one nurse, and she was speaking at a conference, and she said how, she's going to do this talk at this conference. And I was like, oh my God. I said that I would rather die than do public speaking. And I meant that with every cell in my body and wholeheartedly. And then I heard myself and I thought, God, look there's all these people that are dying every day. They would have given anything to be able to have the opportunity, to speak, to do anything really. And I thought, right, I've got to live life more. And I've got to, I suppose, manage this fear of me. And the way that I really learnt to manage that was to stop judging myself, because I had so much judgments around myself that was paralysing me to be able to get up and speak. So it's just from, doing a lot of other work on working on my limiting beliefs, but really just starting to have gratitude for myself, noticing where I am. What it enabled for me was more authenticity to come out. For me, just to be me. That's all I could do, just be me. But for so long, I had so many judgments around what speaking should look like, how you should present yourself, and all this, I suppose, stuff for me around perfection, being perfect. And, now I just do more work on myself every day to not be perfect, and just be perfectly imperfect and just show up as, just as I am, because that's actually all I can do. And then from that place, you feel safe. It's a whole lot more easier as we really remove those judgments. Gosh, hello, gorgeous, Marianne. Gosh, me too, judging myself and overthinking. Yeah, we're really stimulated to overthink because it emits those fear-based emotions in our body, which we get a massive chemical stimulus from. So our brain's always going to thinking, to worrying, to analysing, so it can get its fix, its rush. I call it the heroin, to get its rush of those fear-based emotions. So when we can start to change our thoughts, we start to change our emotions, and then we start to change how our body reacts, and you feel more safe in your being. So, any other questions around that? So, I suppose just start to look at what is success to you, because we're so driven in society to gain more knowledge, to work harder, to get more money, to build so much wealth, to have so much saved for retirement, so then we can be happy and then we can enjoy our money and the fruits of our labour. But I think you're very fortunate if you get to that place, because I've seen so many people that don't. And so we can have it all. That's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about it. We can have all the monetary wealth success, but it's coming from a place of empowerment rather than disempowerment, and coming from a love-based space rather than a fear-based. And, our brains are always focused on worrying and pushing through life and doing, because we love to do. We've become human doings rather than human beings. But as you learn to be more and receive more, then you are able to come from that place of overflow where the synchronicities in life just start to fall together. So things start to happen a whole lot more effortlessly, and you don't have to work so hard and be in that stress response. And so then you have more energy, you can be more in service, and then I suppose you can actually play a bigger game, which is exciting. But the thing is that self has to come first. Self has to be the most important person, so that you're congruent then with being in service, and caring and loving to others, because I suppose you're caring and loving to yourself. So have a look at what success means to you. And mine is about having fun every day. That's my most, the most important thing. And all right, I'll just quick finish this and then I'll answer your questions, gorgeous. Yeah, having fun is the most important thing for me every day, because in that space, my brain's open, I'm full of possibility, I learn so much quicker, I can take in information, and then the pressure's off and I have more energy. And so I have to keep reminding myself a lot, because my body's so quick to go into that pressure, doing, getting things done, and then I just go, doesn't matter, it's not important. And then as soon as I shift and allow myself to have fun, it's amazing how everything just starts to work out. It's incredible. Is there anything you say or do when your brain goes to the negative thought? Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of things. I come back to gratitude. So come back to what I'm doing well rather than what I'm not doing well. The second place of that is sometimes these negative thoughts are actually very purposeful, and they're leading to a chain of events which will lead you back to your inner child. So there's a gift there, there's something, there's say a neuronet, a limiting belief that's firing that no longer serves anymore. So sometimes you need to go down that chain of events, and one of the best ways is through journaling. And then the inner child work, inner child writing, which you know about, Marianne. So that's always a really good way to find out actually what is going on here, what neuronet is firing, what limiting belief am I holding on to that no longer serves anymore, and then accessing that inner child from within, because that really smashes that neuronet, and all the fear-based emotions that are being released. It actually brings you back to energy. I had that happen on Wednesday. I was doing some writing. I was feeling just didn't have a lot of energy, and I was like, what's going on here? And then there was a neuronet not good enough firing, and as soon as I identified it, I came back to energy straight away. I was like, oh. So yeah, sometimes they're really important, these negative thoughts, leading us somewhere, or sometimes we just have to break those neuro pathways that just keep feeding into these repetitive cycles, because we want to be addicted to fear. Our body just loves it. It's like, give me more fear to get that chemical stimulus. So sometimes you just have to keep blocking them. And another one that I got taught, which I hadn't probably used, but I did use earlier this year, was you actually physically go, stop. So you say this to yourself, stop. Because it's just firing, stop. And then it actually shocks your body into stopping those repetitive negative thoughts from happening. So that's another one. Yeah, it's not something I've used a lot, but I had to have used it once, and it actually worked, and those negative thoughts actually just stopped. Oh, you're welcome, gorgeous. You're so welcome. All right, well that's my lesson. Have gratitude for yourself. If you can do it last thing every night, write, keep it simple, 1 minute, boom. If you make it complicated, then you end up sabotaging it and not doing it. But just look at one thing you've done really well for the day. And then the next thing is if you can identify how it makes you feel. So you can teach your body to produce these high vibrating emotions of love, and then feel that from your body, then that will, stimulate more energy in the morning. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone. And just look at what success means to you. So much love to you all. Have a wonderful day. And remember, you are good enough. Bye.